Hey folks, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to go over the warning show that I saw last night. It was amazing. We'll just put that right up top. It was Silver Spring, Maryland, July 16, 2025. Their opener was Speed of Light, which is a trio of siblings. Sound familiar? They absolutely killed it. We have done one reaction to Speed of Light on the other channel for their song Teeth, and we really enjoyed that song. It was the second song up of the night. They played a very tight and very thunderous set, I would say, throughout. There were no slip-ups, no problems, and it was highly satisfying to listen to them play. It was really quite amazing. So before I got in there, it was looking like a bad night in terms of the weather. It looked like it was going to be thunderstorms and maybe serious ones throughout. And so I got there just before the storms hit, was faced with a long line to get into general admission. And then I asked somebody, I said, wait a minute, I've got a will call ticket. Is that a different line? They're like, oh yeah, go up front. So I sprinted up front, and lo and behold, there was virtually no line for the will call. So I got my ticket. I went in, got a pretty good spot on the right side as you walk into the place, right down near the stage, but behind the main floor, there's rafters. You can see rafters up, and I was kind of behind one of the rafters. I've seen a couple of fan cams where theoretically you should be able to see me, but you can't. And actually, I can't see anybody that I was standing with. It was a little tough to see beyond the rafters. So I got in there. I saw Lalo at the soundboard, so I just said a quick hello to him and thanks for the great sound, and you're doing a fantastic job. And I've enjoyed the interviews I've seen, and that was it. You know, it was about 30 seconds of just saying thank you. And because I didn't want to bother him too much, you know, so I left it at that. Hung around for a while, talked with people that were in the venue. Right in front of me was a man who had brought his family for the first time, so he had his wife and daughter there, and all three enjoyed the show immensely. There were other people around, just interesting stories to hear, and you know, of all types, all ages, a very diverse crowd, to be sure. The warning came on, and they absolutely killed it right from the start. And started, you know, we got the Blob movie up in front of 6 Feet Deep, and then they went through the whole set that we have seen from a lot of other places. Now, granted, there's a little bit of variation here and there. We got Burnout, I think, instead of, there was another song that they've been kind of flipping. Maybe it was Consume, I'm not sure, but we got Burnout. So the set list went as follows: 6 Feet Deep, Sick, Satisfied, Choke, Que Mas Quieres, Escapism with the extended outro, Apologize, which was fantastic, More, Money, Burnout, Sharks, which was loads of fun, Intro 404 into Disciple, and then we got the band introductions, then Hell You Call a Dream, Martirio, which was fantastic, and Evolve. I mean, it was all great, but these were moments, you know, that particularly stuck out for me. Martirio, Apologize, Escapism, those were big moments. Choke, I always love hearing, so I was happy about that. Anyway, after that, they left, you know, and came back for an encore of Narcisista and Automatic Sun, both of which they crushed. So we got all three songs in Spanish in this 17-song set list, and the crowd was just ecstatic from what I could tell. And I did meet a few people who are friends of the channel, you know, so in fact, one of them was before I even walked in, because we were in the parking garage across the street and trying to figure out how to pay the parking and for how long it applied and all of that. And so we had a conversation about that. And she's like, are you on YouTube? And she had a warning shirt on. She very, I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name, but it was great meeting you. I met a few other people too, Lauren and his son. Lauren is a regular on the channel. And there were a few other people that just came up and said, hey, great work and all that, but didn't actually give their names. But that was still very nice. The show itself, just fantastic. After the show, I spotted Louise also near the soundboard and kind of did the same thing I did with Lalo. I just went up. I said, thanks, you've done a wonderful job of raising your children, and their band is fantastic, and you should be very proud. And shook his hand and walked away. He was very gracious. And, honestly, afterwards, I thought maybe that was a little awkward just walking up to him and saying that. I for somebody that runs a YouTube channel and maybe should be a little more outgoing, I'm not the most outgoing person. I tend to empathize with the situation and try not to be, a burden on anybody. He certainly did not give the impression that I was burdening him, but I kind of got the sense that maybe, I don't know, maybe this isn't the thing I should be doing. Going around trying to make connections like that. But nonetheless, he was extremely gracious. Very nice man. The whole experience was just fantastic. It was essentially just me going to a concert by myself, which is unusual. Adrian could not attend because he lives 500 miles away and he does not really travel. That's why I went to Boston last time and we saw them together in Boston. And had they had a show in Boston this time around, I would have just traveled up there and seen them up there. But this was great. I'm actually familiar with the Fillmore. I've been there before. I saw Steve Winwood there a number of years ago. Fantastic show. I got to get up right near the front and watch him play the B3 organ, which was a thrill. There was one other occasion I was there. I can't remember who the artist was exactly. But it's a solid venue in the D.C. area. If you've ever thought about going to see a show there, it's pretty well organized, getting people in and then getting people out at the end of the night. All I would suggest is you might want to pick a slightly further away parking garage. Getting out took about 15 minutes. By the time I was back in the garage, everybody had gotten back to their cars. And so I was on the third floor. It took me about 15 minutes to get out, which frankly isn't all that bad. It's just kind of a slow crawl because there was a traffic light right at the base of the garage. So you had to wait for that 30-second light at a time or something like that. But still not bad. And very close to the highway too. Only about a mile and a half from 495. So very convenient. Just logistically, if you're on a tour, if you're coming up from the south and going to New York or vice versa, it's a great place to stop. I mean, there's a hotel right across the street. You just can't lose. So, in fact, they might be there today because their next show is tomorrow in New York. That was the entire experience. I did not get any video because I noticed plenty of people were doing video. I mean, plenty. Plus, it so happens where I seemed to be one of the tallest people there, and I didn't want to, further obstruct anybody's view. So I just let other people do the filming. And we'll see what we can find for specific clips. It would be fun to be able to kind of go through everything. But it's very hard to actually give a critique of what they did because, frankly, it was just downright exactly what I expected and perfect. No problems that I could spot. All the energy that we've come to expect from them on this tour. Danny even jumping up and down again during the escapism outro, which she did in Atlanta. We just featured that on the channel, on the Glenn and Adrian channel. And she seems fully healthy these days. I know there was some question that maybe she was getting run down a few days earlier. She had mentioned that in Atlanta, but she was fine here. So wishing them the best as they continue the tour and then finish it and then go home, do one festival stop, and then buckling down for the album, the next album. And can't wait to see what comes of that. It was hot in there. It was a hot day, and it was extremely humid, and it was pretty warm in that place. The place was absolutely packed. I think even Danny made note of that. Like, I don't think you could fit another person physically into this building, kind of a thing. And I think she was right. Just a triumphant gig, to be certain, and I'm so glad I was there. Although I do wish my brother was there with me. That would have been nice. Nonetheless, if you ever get a chance, definitely go see them. It's just worth it to have the experience. So if you have any questions for me on the night, you can leave those below, and I'll do my best to answer them. In the meantime, if you have other suggestions for me, you can leave those below. Of course, if you were at the show, give your own impressions of what happened and what your favorite moments were of the evening. One other thing, Rudy had everybody sign up for Set.Live right at the top of the show before the sisters came out, and there was a giveaway of 3 signed posters at the end. So That got a lot of people to sign up for Set.live, which I think is a way to pre-save music. I haven't actually looked at the site very carefully today, but I just thought I'd make note of that too. Okay, so if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and if you enjoyed the presentation, please subscribe. All right. Thanks so much for joining me on this. I will catch you on the next one, all right? Take care, folks.